Good morning. Again, with a new educational episode, and this time it will be about a very important lesson for the preparatory and for the secondary stages relative clauses. Let's start. Relative clauses are introduced with relative pronouns like whom, who, which, whose, and that, and relative adverbs like when, where, and why. Who, whom, and that only for people, only for humans. For example, Myrna is an excellent girl. She won the gold medal. There are two sentences. Let's join them to avoid repetition. We use the relative adverb who or that. Both are correct because Myrna is a human. Myrna, who or that, is an excellent girl, won the gold medal. Here, it's a subject. Keep who or that close to the subject. Keep it close to the subject. The secretary answered the phone. She was polite. She refers to the secretary. Let's join these two sentences and avoid repetition. The secretary who or that answered the phone was polite. This is also a subject. Remember, keep that or who close to the subject. Let's see what about the object. That is my new boss. I met him yesterday. That is my new boss who or that or whom I met yesterday. Remember, skip or drop the pronoun him. It's incorrect to say who I met him. No, who I met yesterday. Here, these pronouns came instead of an object. Remember, keep them close to the object. Sarah is my fiancée. You met her last week. Sarah, whom, that you met last week is my fiancée. Again with the object. Keep them close to the object. And remember, drop the pronoun here. Don't use prepositions before who or that. No prepositions before who or that. We can use prepositions before any adverb or any pronoun, relative pronoun or adverb, but don't use prepositions before who or that. For example, I lived with a man. He was honest. The man with whom I lived was honest. With whom? Object. If I'd like to link using who, keep the preposition away. The man who I lived with was honest. Ali adores his grandfather. He is influenced by him. Ali adores his grandpa, by whom he is influenced. Or Ali adores his grandpa, who he is influenced by. Don't use by before who. Okay. Which and that for things and animals, subject and object. For example, Iman bought a mobile. It was expensive. Iman bought a mobile which or that was expensive. Subject. Keep the pronoun close to the subject. This is the best essay. Ali wrote it. The best essay is which or that Ali wrote. They have a splendid villa. They live in it. They have a splendid villa in which they live. Or they have a splendid villa which or that they live in. This is object. When you travel abroad, inshallah, they call that poor structure. When you use the preposition before the relative pronoun, they call it abroad poor structure. It's preferable to use the preposition at the end of the sentence. Don't use which with the following. Use that instead. It's incorrect to use which with all, any, one, some, everything, only, many, few, or much. Instead, use that. For example, Ahmed is the only pupil that got the full mark. Do you have any of the pens that I bought you yesterday? They bought much tasteful furniture that looked fashionable. I gave all the money that I had to my friend. We use that with the superlative adjectives. That is the best scenery that I've ever seen. It's preferable to use that, not which. We use that when we talk about human and non-human in the same sentence. Dickens wrote about the people and the places that he liked. Human people and non-human places. Use that. Whose for possessive adjectives. The old lady screamed. A thief grabbed her bag. The old lady whose bag was grabbed by a thief screamed. Add or use whose between the owner and the thing which is owned. The owner and the thing which is owned. The students misbehaved in class. Their fathers will be called. The students whose fathers will be called misbehaved in class. Where for places. It was my best school. We did many activities at it. It was my best school where we did many activities. And omit or drop at it. Instead of at it, we used where. Or it was my best school which we did many activities at. Or it was my best school at which we did many activities. As I told you, it's preferable to use the preposition at the end of the sentence because abroad they call that poor structure. I'm giving you 1 minute to read the other two examples. When is used for time. For example, Ramadan is a special month we fast in it. Ramadan is a special month when we fast. Or Ramadan is a special month in which we fast. Or Ramadan is a special month which we fast in. The same for this example. Read it. Don't use that in non-defining clause. How can I know the non-defining clause? Besides the meaning, you can know it by that. 2 commas. When you see these 2 commas and in the middle some extra information, it's forbidden, it's incorrect to use that. Use any relative pronoun, any adverb, but don't use that when you see these 2 commas and in the middle some extra information. Paris, which is very big, is the capital of France. It's incorrect to say here that. Ali, who won the race, is my neighbor. Our teacher, whom we love, is very resourceful. My classmate, whose pencil case was stolen, borrowed my pen and pencil. Now with the subject name. We can use it instead of who or which or that plus verb. Instead we use gerund. But remember, only in the active voice. Let me explain it for you. The student who is sitting next to me is very clever. I can drop who is sitting and say the student sitting. The lady who lives next door is very helpful. The lady living. Drop who lives. Present continuous, present simple. What about here? The past simple. The boy who won the medal has exerted his best efforts. Who won? Winning. Instead of who won? Winning. The boy who won? I can say the boy winning. So instead of the present simple, present continuous, past simple, but only in the active voice. Use the gerund form. What about the last note? The object name. It is for the passive voice. For only the passive voice. Instead of who, which, that, plus helping verb or auxiliary verb plus verb, use the PP, the past participle. For example, plays that were written by Shakespeare are read everywhere. I can say plays written by Shakespeare. The goods which were bought today are very cheap. I can say the goods bought. The students who are told off never do their homework. The students told off. The past participle instead of who, which, or that plus helping verb plus verb. Meeting you soon with a new lesson. I have enjoyed it with you. I wish you would get any benefit. Thank you.